So this is our plate. We got our collards, our black-eyed peas, and the cornbread. It's very hot. It's hot. Make sure you can.
That's good.
You didn't even get it in your mouth before you said it. You didn't get it in before you said tastes good.
It touched my tongue. It's instant.
It's instant, huh?
It's delicious.
All right, so I want a little collard with my black-eyed peas.
Hey, that's pretty good.
Hi guys, welcome back to Sewing Back. We are in the kitchen. Happy New Year. Today is January 1st. It is the first day for me of the Three Rivers Challenge. If you're not familiar with the Three Rivers Challenge, I will leave a link in the description. And the Three Rivers Challenge was something set up by Jessica over at Three Rivers Homestead. Many years ago. She started on Instagram and then took it to YouTube and has a pretty big following. And what her goal is to eat things in her pantry that they have preserved to get ready for the next garden season. She has a few rules, and her rules are, there are no rules. Her rules are that anyone can do it, and that everyone makes their own set of rules that they're trying to live by, because everybody is kind of in different circumstances. And so you want to make something that's going to be a challenge, but at the same time that you can be successful in. Her other thing is that she tries to do it January and February. But some people do January, some people do February, some people do both months. So it's kind of up to you. So I am going to kind of follow what I did with my October challenge with things that worked. I have a menu. When I did my October pantry challenge was to make a menu, and it's kind of 2 pages. And I've set out what I'm going to eat on each day. I've looked at, you know, basketball games, choir practice at church, Wednesday night dinners, that kind of thing, and just plugged in, you know, what was going to be on the menu for January. As y'all know, if you followed in October, there are certain just old standbys that are going to be on the week to week. The main one for January that's on every week is turkey tacos, and that's just expected in our home. And so we're not going to do that on Tuesday though this semester. It's going to be on Thursday because that works out with the boys' schedule, because that's the one that's important to them. You will see I have, you know, pizzas in here, and I'm trying to think if there were any other, you know, burgers are in here a few times, that kind of thing. And then I've also tried to include a couple new recipes. My month of dinners, my pantry, my freezers, everything's pretty well stocked. I am going to follow my October lead, and then I'm going to give myself $100 per week, or $400 for the month, to fill in any holes that I may have. I'm hoping not to use all of that, but I'm just going to put that there, and we're going to see how that goes for January, and then we'll reevaluate for February. I will have an Azure pickup. I plan to have a meat share, a beef and pork meat share pickup, and that was something that I ordered early in December and paid for. And my rancher, my local rancher, has really been struggling with the flu, which has now turned to pneumonia, because I was actually supposed to pick it up yesterday. And so at some point in this month, I will be picking that up. I'm just kind of whatever's convenient for her and her family with everything they have going on. I'm pretty well stocked there too. This was just to kind of restock what we've used this year, and because I really wanted to bless them. They had an abundance of meat from their ranch, and they have had last year was a very difficult year health-wise with some major surgeries, and that was part of my October challenge, was to be able to save up enough to do that. So I did. That's already been paid for, and so that would come at some point. The only people, they're not people, my furry and feathered friends are not included in the challenge. So that's kind of a separate budget. But as far as like the household things, all that's well stocked, and that's going to be included in the challenge. So when I do shop, I will include that in the week's recap. I will do a weekly recap showing you what's for dinner. The other thing that I learned was really important in the first pantry challenge I did in October was being prepared for breakfast. Lunch, a lot of times for us, lunch is leftovers. For the kids, it's more sandwiches and stuff like that. And that's why I do allow for the $100. I do not have a dairy cow. Don't want a dairy cow. I live in the burbs. I do have chickens. I do have my own eggs, so I don't have to purchase that. But I do have to get dairy. I have to get, lunch things for my kids to be able to have lunch. And fresh eating. The big cold thing that came through at Christmas pretty much wiped out what I had in the garden. I have a few things that may come back, but nothing we're going to be eating anytime soon. So I want to be able to still be able to get some salads and things like that. So I feel like that's a decent budget. It's going to allow me to save money. It's going to allow me to eat through things I've canned and put up and use those things. Because if you don't use them, they don't last forever. They will spoil and go bad. And I don't want to do that. So that is kind of what the pantry challenge is. Those are my rules. My only other thing that I have for the month of January is I have a 3-day weekend in January where I will be leaving and going on a retreat with women at my church. And I'm really not sure how all the food will work for that. I'm not going to hold my men's to this challenge while I'm not here. They're going to do what they want to do. So that is in January. It is collard green and black-eyed pea time. And that's what I'm going to be working on, getting this started so I can start cooking all afternoon. So we'll have it with some yummy cornbread this evening. And that's what's for dinner. Now, my kids, black-eyed peas and collard greens, not necessary. My older kid, well, some of my kids will like it, some of them don't. There's plenty of junk left over from New Year's Eve and things like that there's plenty of stuff here for them to eat, but this is what we're gonna eat. And we will probably have leftovers, and that's totally good because the stuff is so good. Now, I had hoped I would have collard greens out of my garden. They are pretty pitiful looking. Some of them are very mushy, like you wouldn't want to eat them. Some of them I feel like they may come back, but for now, no. So I went to a local store, and these were a buy one get one free at my local Publix. And these are really nice because they are washed and ready to go. So I have these. I also have black-eyed peas that I actually soaked overnight, and we're gonna make these taste super yummy, and so I'm gonna show you how to do that. Got my ham, and it's still a little frozen, but that's okay because these are gonna cook low and slow. And I'm just gonna have this in here. I also diced up an onion. This was a pretty good size onion, so I'm going to put half of it into the black-eyed peas, and half of it I'm going to actually saute into my collard greens when we get there. I have some of my poultry broth that I pressure canned, so I'm going to put some of that in there. going to put in some salt. Now you have to remember, these are dried beans, so they're not going to have a lot of flavor. That's why I'm putting in the ham, the onion, and I'm using a quart of my poultry bone broth. Ooh, nice seal. So I'm going to pour this in. And you be careful over salting your beans, because they will take on, especially if you're using ham, they're going to take on some of that ham. And now I'm going to add about 2 cups of water. I like to add in here, y'all know I love my infused olive oils. I love cilantro and roasted onion from my friend's store. This is my favorite one. And I'm just going to put just a little in. I'm also going to use this to saute the onions for my collard greens when I get there. So I've got this going in there, and then I want to add a little bit of crushed red pepper because it adds a little heat. Now some people, and I have had years where I did it, I don't have any jalapenos, but it's you can add jalapeno in if you want. Then it would a lot of people would say that it becomes like Hoppin' John's. But it's totally tasty. I just don't have any right now. And the last thing that I'm going to put in is, I'm going to put a little white pepper. I just eyeball it. I'm going to take a tablespoon of garlic. And now all you're going to do is you are going to turn this on. I'm actually going to move this to the back eye. I'm going to turn it on and let it get going. So you want to kind of bring it up to a boil. And once you bring it to a boil, you want to turn it down and allow it to simmer. Alright, so these are about where I want them to be. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add my garlic. I'm going to stir that up. Alright, and now I'm going to take my beef broth. Let me open that. I had a good seal. And I did it one-handed, y'all. Alright, we're going to pour this in. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put in my 1 cup of the vinegar. I'm going to take my red wine. And I'm going to put about 1 cup of red wine. Now, if you were using 1 bag, you would just half this, half the, you probably still do, you could still do the same onion, all that, but you would half the red wine and you'd half your apple cider vinegar. I would still use the same amount of broth, regardless. And so now, I'm just going to start putting in my collard greens. I have 1/4 cup. I'm going to sprinkle the sugar on. I'm going to take another 1/4 cup. So it's essentially about 1/2 cup. And if you're somebody who wants to take some of the bitterness out of the greens, that sugar is going to help. Alright, Now we want to add salt. A little salt. Again, I'm not going to go crazy with the salt because there's going to be a ham bone in this. You may want more salt if, like I said, you're going for like a vegan option. And I want to add about, because I have 2 bags, I'm going to say that's probably about a teaspoon of pepper flakes. You can go as crazy as you want with those. And I'm going to add some white pepper to this again. The white pepper, if you're wondering the difference between that and black pepper, white pepper is going to give you more of a smoky flavor. Also, if you have allergies to black pepper, sometimes a lot of people can handle the white pepper if they cannot handle black pepper. So that's just an FYI. Alright, so I got these going, and I'm probably going to go ahead and add just a little bit more of garlic. So here's the black-eyed peas that have the ham pieces from Thanksgiving, our onion, and it has our yummy spices, and this is in our poultry broth that I canned up. I have a video on that. So if you have turkey leftovers or stuff like that, make you your own bone broth. Even if all you do is freeze it, okay? Or refrigerate it. You can keep it in the refrigerator for a little bit. So I'm just waiting for these to come to a good boil, and then I'm just going to turn both of them down, let them simmer low and slow. So these have been cooking for about an hour. They smell really good. And let me show you the peas. The peas, as they cook, they should get thicker. And those look really good too. So this is the collard greens. Ooh, sorry for the, well, they're really cooking. This is live, baby. I had a taste. Oh my gosh, these are slap ya mama good. Yeah, they are. And if I felt better, I would have called my mama up, because my mama loves my collard greens. And but I don't want to share any cooties if there's any cooties left to share. So those are our collard greens. I just got them on the lowest setting. If you look at my ham bone, you can see all of the ham is falling off of it. When I tasted these, no salt needed. That little bit we put in is more than enough because of the ham. So those are done. And let me show you the black-eyed peas. I like the black-eyed peas. I ran many miles to many of their CDs. And so you can see my ham pieces that I cut up off of my Thanksgiving ham. And I did add, I had some dehydrated green bell pepper from my garden. I did throw some of that in there to give it some color. Plus, I just love the way that tastes. Cornbread is done. I'm fixing to get it out of the pan. That's the true test. Does it come out of the pan? That's what it looks like. And if you're really southern, you're going to have an old plate like this. This is one my mother-in-law gave me, I don't know, a few decades ago, because it came when I had a baby with some cornbread on it. And so this is what I always flip my cornbread in. I have two. I have this one and a strawberry one. So you just take it, you did it right. Ta-da! Come on. So this is our plate. We got our collards, our black-eyed peas, and the cornbread. It's very hot. It's hot. Make sure you can
That's good.
You didn't even get it in your mouth before you said
I
it.
didn't taste it.
You didn't get it in before you said tastes good.
It touched my tongue. It's instant.
It's instant, huh?
It's delicious.
All right, so I want a little collard with my black-eyed peas.
Hey, that's pretty good.
Let's get a little cornbread. Oh, that's so good. You got to make sure you put that vinegar in to get that good pot liquor on those collard greens.
That's good.
And adding that white pepper is going to give that smoky flavor. It's so good.
It's delicious.
It is very good. And this will be very filling. I shouldn't be talking with my mouth full.
Can I have this plate?
Sure. So, anyway.
You can have it. You cooked it.
No, it's okay. I'll get another one. So anyway, that is a traditional Southern New Year's Day meal. And it stands for, so the black-eyed peas are for pennies, your collard greens are for dollar bills, and cornbread is said to be the gold. And that's why people in the South like to eat this meal. They may eat it other places as well. I'm from the South, so that's all I know. But I promise you, if you try to make it this way, you will love it. Anyway, with that, if you found value, I'd appreciate a thumbs up. If you are liking our content, we would appreciate it if you would subscribe to our channel, or if you know someone who might like our channel, please share our channel. That helps us to grow our platform. We appreciate it. I hope you have a happy new year.